The summary of the Warhammer 40k news cycle for the past few weeks kind of goes like this. Games Workshop was like, look at this cool new pre-painted terrain we have. The internet was like, well, that's kind of interesting. Archon Studio is basically like, welcome to the party, we've been doing this for several years. And then the internet had to ask the question, are we going to see pre-painted Space Marines now? And Games Workshop had a very simple response, no. That's pretty much what they said, no. And the reason for why they would say no, even though they gave no further details in this video, is actually a pretty simple one if we take a look at the technology behind all these pre-painted terrain pieces. And what we're talking about here is UV printing. Now here's one example from Epson of a smaller class of UV printers, and it cost only a little bit over $9,300. Now that kind of price may seem pretty intense for your average homeowner, but if you are running a small local print shop that occasionally needs to make custom products for people, well, $9,300 is not a crazy price. But the main reason I chose this product right here is because UV printing is not a new technology. It's a very mature one. It's been around for a while. It just only recently came to the tabletop game world. And basically the way to think of these printers, they're kind of a combination of inkjet printers with some elements of resin 3D printing, if you're familiar with that type of technology. How they work is they essentially put down a layer of UV cured ink, so it's colored ink, but it's cured with a UV light, kind of like the UV light you have in your resin 3D printer. And this creates a type of finish on the product that is both highly detailed because it is sort of like an inkjet printer, but it's also highly durable because it's a plastic resin at the same time and can stick to all sorts of different materials, not just say paper or cardstock like what an inkjet printer can do. To see how this all applies to tabletop gaming, we can take a look at an article that Archon Studio put out a few years ago when they announced what they call Prismacast. That is their trademark terminology for UV printing on their terrain pieces. You can go ahead and read this whole thing if you want to, but here's their sample of what a product looks like. But mainly the image that I want to show you is how the printer works. And it's just like I was mentioned a moment ago, it's a giant kind of inkjet type thing. And you can see it's got the bright blue lights there, which are almost certainly the UV lights or the black lights for curing the ink as the printer moves across the terrain pieces that it's printing. Now the reason why this technology can work for terrain pieces but not so much for miniatures, we'll talk about that in just a moment, is because kind of like an inkjet printer, well, it's basically prints mostly on flat surfaces. And this image back here from Archon Studio demonstrates this very well. The terrain that it's printing on, for the most part, keyword for the most part, there is some flexibility here, but for the most part, it's a flat packed terrain. It's just a bunch of terrain tiles that you connect in various ways to make cool 3D dungeons and other similar types of terrain setups. So to see why this technology doesn't apply to miniatures, I've got two Games Workshop sprues here. They are from the old Saurus Knight, Age of Sigmar, Seraphon, Lizardman for your old school Warhammer Fantasy Battles people. Arguably, these are probably some of the worst miniatures that Games Workshop ever made. They're really ugly, but they're a good demonstration of why UV printing doesn't work on miniatures, and that's because the miniature pieces are not flat. They've got some depth to them. Like there's a little bit of depth between the top of the piece of the body here as well as down by the tail, and that's not very much, but it's enough to cause issues with UV printing. Let me actually measure what this little drop is right here. These are my calipers here. From the highest point of this piece in the sprue to the lowest point, you're looking around about 5 millimeters. But if you take a look at the specs of some of these UV printers that are out there, for the most part, they generally say that the print head needs to be about 1 to 2 millimeters away from the surface in order to get really nice clarity. There are some exceptions to that though. As one more random product I found on the internet, this one advertises itself as a high throw flatbed that can flawlessly print up to 25% of the curved or uneven surfaces that you're printing on. And I think as an example here, it shows him printing a bunch of custom logos on a whole bunch of golf balls, and they all apparently look pretty good. But when we're talking like, who knows, 6, 5, 8 millimeter differences between the top and the bottom of the highest point in the sprue and the lowest point on the sprue. Maybe even printers like this, that's too much for them to easily handle and still get a nice clear result, where you ideally want to put a single type of color, maybe on some of these little specks of the shield or some of the scales on the lizardmen, and you want, like the skin color to be a different color. Of course, you have the problem because the fact that the printing is done straight down from the top. Any details on the side can be a little bit sketchy. Let's take a look at that Archon Studio example one more time. If you look at this picture here where they're comparing the hand-painted terrain piece to the unpainted to the Prismacast versions, what you're going to notice is that on the tops of the sprue pieces, there's not a lot of color right there. Now, some of the Archon Studio pieces have some color here, but a lot of them do not, and there's basically a clever choice in the terms of the plastic colors they select. But looks like when it comes to this Dwarven Mine or whatever they call it here, the sprue itself is actually brown plastic, which is a way of hiding some of the fact that you can't really paint the side of the miniatures all that well. Now that doesn't mean we're never going to see a UV printing when it comes to tabletop gaming miniatures, but what it does mean, at least with the current generation of printers, if a company wants to go down that route, they really got to think about how they design the sprues, and they got to be designed to really allow them to lay down color and detailed color first and foremost over any other constraints that would apply to designing this sprue, which would definitely limit maybe poses of miniatures, how many pieces the miniatures have, how much assembly time you're going to have to deal with, any sort of weird, not so easy assembly process, things like that. You can imagine you have a situation where, like a Space Marine shoulder pad, you could kind of have that curve away from the UV printer, and even though it's a few millimeters away, you can kind of inaccurately spray a base color of whatever that chapter's colors would be on the piece. But any kind of iconography that appear on the shoulder pad, well, it's going to be oriented such that that particular piece of iconography is going to be within that 1 to 2 millimeter range of the print head, and therefore you're going to be able to apply color very precisely and accurately to that part of the miniature. Of course, if you have that constraint, you have to ask the question, can you even cast that type of plastic miniature with a 2-piece metal mold? You have to have some more complex. It introduces a whole new level of complexity into the whole process. So until we see some sort of UV printing technology where either the print head can kind of go around the miniature, get a little bit further away, or possibly you have a situation where the sprue itself could be rotated around and moved around to have ink applied in very specific locations, we're probably not going to see this technology a whole lot when it comes to gaming miniatures. Also, there is the giant elephant in the room, which is Winnie the Pooh's borderline slave labor force over there in China, which frankly can do a halfway decent job of painting up a miniature for most people for likely a lot cheaper than trying to develop this UV printing technology specifically for the tabletop game market. And while we're on the topic of Chinese labor, I probably should at least add that Games Workshop doesn't go down that path, and I'm fairly certain that Archon Studio as well doesn't actually have any pre-painted miniatures that were manufactured in China. At least I'm not aware of them having any at this time. Anyway, moving on. That is kind of where things stand, and probably, at least in my opinion, why Games Workshop went ahead and said, no, we're not going to be having any plans for pre-painted miniatures in the near future, because technically, it's not really possible right now, but it does work very well for mostly flat packed terrain pieces. So with that, thank you guys all for watching. I'm Jason, the creator of the Tabletop Battlefield, as well as Fractured Colony over at fracturedcolony.com if you're interested in 3D printable gaming miniatures and models for kind of a near future military sci-fi style setting. All right, so until next time, thanks for watching. Did I say that already? I usually say thanks for watching about 3 times. And I really gotta actually pay attention to what I'm saying not to do that. And I probably didn't do that this time. So yes, I will see you guys all next time.